again, but thanks for staying on. For those who are just joining us, good evening. My name is Chantel Smith. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Inclusive Communities in the Honors College at UMD. We want to just say congratulations again on your acceptance to UMD and your invite to the Honors College. We're so excited for you during this time. So this week, we'll be offering you an opportunity to learn more about our 8 unique programs from the staff and students who represent them. We hope that this information is helpful while you're determining which of the programs you're most interested in, so that you can complete your program preferencing form by the February 19th deadline. So right now we're about to learn more about our Honors Global Communities program. While we encourage you to send in your questions through the Q&A section, we kindly ask that you hold them until the end of the presentation, since there's a chance they may be addressed during that time. Once the presentation is over, we'll go ahead and open up for Q&A so that you can hear more from the students and the staff. So I will go ahead and pass the mic over so you can learn more about Honors Global Communities.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll go ahead and share my screen and we can get started. Okay, here we go. Whoop. Hang on 1 second here. Okay. Okay, so this is Honors Global, there we go, now it's up. Honors Global Communities. I am the director, Dr. Sarah Croco. My fantastic colleagues are also online here. I'll let them introduce themselves when we get to the more about us page. But just to give you a general overview of the program, we see it as really having 2 main components. The first is to ask big questions about big issues facing the world today. Things like, why do we see so many democracies backsliding? What are the problems with, this kind of demographic transitions that we see a lot of countries going through, where they have too many old people, they have too many young people? What are we going to see from that in the next 20 years? What do we know about how globalization is changing? All kinds of climate issues we talk about. So really like the big issues facing the world today. Alongside that, I really like to use this as a way to introduce students to data science. And we have, as you'll learn, students from all kinds of majors, right? But I think really everyone can benefit from understanding data science. And so the purpose of the first year is really to get students' feet wet in this programming language called R. And through R, they will, by the end of their first year, students know how to make amazing graphs. And I'll show you some examples of that. But they also get some fairly sophisticated statistical tools that they'll be able to do actual data science analysis, right, on any problem that they're interested in, whether they're an astronomy major, a journalism major, right? It really is a broadly applicable toolkit that can help so many people. In their second year, students then can, and I'll kind of outline the curriculum in more detail later, but they can either take the internship track, right, where they can take advantage of being so close to Washington, D.C., or they can do study abroad, right, and that often, or they can do an independent study project, right? So there really are a lot of options, and we like to encourage diversity in what students do as part of HGLO. Okay, so just a little bit about us. So I am Dr. Croco. My home department is government and politics, so I'm a political scientist. I love studying international conflict, domestic public opinion, and I also teach a lot of statistics courses. This is my second full year as director of HGLO, and I absolutely love it. The reason why I became a professor is so I could work with undergraduates, and I love, love, love this part of my job. So my esteemed colleagues are online as well, so I'll let them just say a little bit about themselves.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Natalie Vinsky Ibrahim, and I'm Associate Director for Honors Global Communities. I've been on campus for a little over 10 years. I love working with HGLO students. I teach one section of the HGLO 100 class and involved with student academics and other programs as well. And I will now turn it over to our program manager.
Thank you, Natalie. Welcome, everybody. My name is Alfredo Oliveira, or Fredo. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a program manager in HGLO. I started in September. I love working here. I'm new. I'm actually the one doing a lot of programming for the students and teaching 2 sections of HGLO. In the fall, Samantha, who is here with us tonight, she was my student this fall. So I'm happy to see all of you here, and I cannot wait for you to join our program in the fall. Back to Dr. Croco.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so just to give a little overview of what HGLO looks like as a community, we aim for about 75 students in each cohort. So in total, about 150 as we are a 2-year program. We really have representation across all colleges and majors. I always like to joke when I was in government and politics, I only saw political scientists. Now I see astronomers, tons of engineers, lots of journalism students, people who are in humanities, lots of social scientists. So it really is across the board. We have a lot of representation. Our in-state, out-of-state typically reflects the overall university, right? So about 75% in-state, 25% out-of-state or international. And there's what we love so much about our community is that we have a lot of students have international connections. And we really try to take advantage of that in our programming and just in kind of discussion, even in courses about any issues that might be relevant in different countries. Okay, so this is Dorchester Hall, or as we affectionately refer to it as Dorch. And you really cannot get better in terms of location. This is right behind the library, very much in central campus. It is one of the smaller dorms, which we really like. It provides a really kind of tight-knit community feel. And it's just fantastic. It was also very recently renovated. And so there's a beautiful kitchen, beautiful lounge. It's really awesome. We have a little online tour that's available if people want to do that. Or we'd encourage you to come to campus and see for yourself. Okay, so in terms of the program requirements, it is a 16 credit program. In the first year, all the first year cohort will take together HGLO 101, which is a class I teach called Saving the World with Data. And I'll get more in detail in that class, but the basic upshot here is that we read all these really cool books about pressing issues, and you get your feet wet with R, and you learn about how to make really awesome data visualization. HGLO 100, Natalie or Fredo, would you go to speak a little bit about what that class kind of does for students?
Sure. So HGLO 100 is essentially an intro seminar course for Honors Global Communities. So this course is 1 credit. It doesn't take a ton of your time, but it's a really great way to learn about the university, to get adjusted to life on campus, and get to know others in our Living Learning program. So there is a lot of reflection, a lot of kind of experiential type activities that we do in class, some dialogue, a little bit of everything. It's a great way to get familiar with the university and with students in the program.
I just want to say about both these classes in the fall, it is so fun to teach these classes because they are just for HGLO first year students. I've taught many big lectures at Maryland, and the energy is just so different in the room in HGLO 100 than it is for like a big government and politics class, because everybody knows each other, everybody's living together, and you can just feel that those friendships forming in the class. And I'm sure the same is true for HGLO 100 as well. Then in the spring of the first year, the HGLO first year cohort will move into Government and Politics 201, which is a class I frequently teach. And this is kind of the intro to statistics. And I love teaching this class, even though it comes with a lot of angst. A lot of people have some preconceived notions about statistics, but I really try to make it fun. And we read books about how to lie with statistics, how to tell if someone's trying to lie to you with statistics, and basically just how to do really cool analysis, right? Which will make that student really marketable, right? Not only on campus, but if they have the tools that they'll get from this class, as they go out on the job market. I have so many emails that I've saved where people are like, thank you for making me learn R. I was able to get my foot in the door at a job interview because of it. It really is a valuable skill. And so in HGLO 101 and GVP 201, they'll really do a lot with R. So this was talking about the kind of big think books that we read. These are what I like to call, in an affectionate term, as airport books, meaning that they are written for a general audience. This Factfulness book, students love this book. I've never had such a positive reaction before. And this book really challenges a lot of assumptions or a lot of kind of bad habits that humans have, right? Like thinking of things in terms of dichotomy, always thinking that the world is getting worse, right? And it really kind of turns all of that on its head and says, no, actually, we're going to make the case that the world is getting better. 8 Billion and Counting is all about demography. And I went into reading this book when I was kind of picking books for this class and thought, demography, that's just like boring. That's just like counting how many people over the age of 80 are in any given country. And this book proved me wrong. No, this book told me that demography is actually at the core of everything, all problems that we're facing today. really rest on this. And so I love kind of introducing students to that world. How to Save the World for $1 trillion. This book is fantastic. We actually got to talk to the author a couple years ago, where he basically went around and just talked to a whole bunch of different experts and said, if you had $1 trillion to spend on cancer research, could you make a dent? Or if you had $1 trillion to spend on climate change, could you actually make a difference? And what's so inspiring about this book is that they all said, yeah, we can really do a lot if we had the political will, right, to put money behind these problems. The End of the World is Just the Beginning is kind of this tour de force of post-World War II history. And it talks all about kind of the rise of the American globalized system, I could say American-led globalized system, and how that's changing, right? And how this author sees the United States is kind of stepping back from its role as this global hegemon and what that's going to mean for the next few decades. And then finally, How Democracies Die is, I think, a fantastic book that talks about the democratic backsliding that's kind of been pretty prominent in American politics over the last 30 years or so. And students love this book because it's about a part of history that they have lived through, right? That they can actually say, oh, I remember that happening. So this has been really fun and really, I love engaging with students on this. We also, though, do a lot of programming in this class. So these are just a few of the books that we use to kind of help students get to know how R works. And these are just a few. I could pick from hundreds of amazing graphs that students make. These I thought were just some cool ones that I pulled from recent homeworks. And students, I love it when they go down what I call the graphing rabbit hole, right? Where they just get so into their graph and they'll email me at 3 a.m, like say like this middle graph here, and they'll be like, look what I just did. And they're so happy and so excited with what they can do. I love to see it. Here's some more cool graphs. And these were all made by people who did not have any experience in R before they walked into the class. But they just kind of got their feet wet and started making really cool stuff. Okay, so the second year, HGLO students have a choice. They can do the internship track, which allows them to take advantage of this fantastic program that we have at UMD called Global Fellows. And Global Fellows really uses the fact that we are really close to downtown Washington, D.C., and they have myriad connections with all kinds of agencies and NGOs and government official or government offices downtown. So they might place someone, or they might have in the fall, they do these kind of seminars that are led by people who are actually working at the State Department or working at the APA, to kind of give students a sense of what does a practitioner in the field do on a day-to-day basis. And then in the spring, Global Fellows help students find internships. And this, I really can't say enough how incredibly valuable it is to get your foot in the internship door during your sophomore year. That gives students such a huge advantage over their peers. And so we really like to encourage people to do this track. But then there's the academic track. And if they choose this, if they're like, I want to go to grad school, or I want to learn more about R, or I want to learn more about how research is conducted, or I want to do study abroad, right? The academic track is a great place for them. So we had this class last term, about 10, and I think 5 are doing study abroad now, and 5 are doing independent research. So it really is a mix. So HGLO 208, which is the class I'll take in the fall, is called Solving Hard Problems with Data. And we just, again, I'll show you some of the books that we read there, but they're all, again, these big think books that are tackling enormous problems. And then they do some kind of cool papers about those. And then in the spring, I'm sorry, I mistyped here, it should say HGLO 298. Here we do, if they're not doing study abroad, they do a kind of capstone project where they conduct independent research with the goal being they will have a fully drafted empirical research paper that they can send out to an undergraduate research journal by the end of that spring term. And we see this as being totally doable because of the skill set the student will have by the time they reach this second semester of their sophomore year. And then finally, to kind of round out the credits, students in both tracks will take an additional 3-credit course from a very long list of approved courses. So just really quickly, these are the books that we looked at in 208. This Sapiens book, this is in graphic novel form. It also exists as a non-graphic book, but we just dove into this. This is basically a history of humankind. And it was just absolutely fascinating. I tell students, it's the kind of book where if you're reading it in a room with somebody else, you can't help but put it down and be like, I have to read this to you. This passage is so fascinating. It's just so well done. Then we went to the Viral Underclass, which was a book that was comparing the HIV epidemic with the COVID pandemic, and how those two had a lot of really strong parallels across both. How to Hide an Empire is hands down my favorite book to teach. This blew students' minds this past fall when it was the first time I taught it. Absolutely just an amazing writer. But also you learn things about US history that you never learned in any class before, about our relationship with the Philippines, about all kinds of how the kind of like American, logistical network that was built in World War II, how that affects many, many decades after World War II. It's just an awesome book. And then A Bright Future is about the role that nuclear power could potentially play in addressing the climate crisis. Again, all these books are just, I think, real page turners, and students love talking about them. And here are just a few kind of samples of graphs that students made in this class. Again, these are now second-year students, so they were also doing kind of regression analysis and things like that as well, but the graphs are prettier to look at. So what can you do beyond HGLO, right? So we're just a 2-year program, right? Like a lot of the other LLPs. With these data science skills that students will have, they can go join the Applied Political Analytics program over in Government and Politics. We actually have a new major over in the Behavioral and Social Science College called Social Data Science. They can go and do whatever they want with that major. That is for people who are already in social sciences. It's a great opportunity. We also have a minor in international development and conflict management. We have a lot of students who come to HGLO because they want to solve world problems or help in solving world problems. And this minor program is a great gateway for them to kind of get in on those type of jobs, right, that pertain to solving world issues. Okay. In addition to all this class stuff, we also have so much fun. And so that's why I love being involved in this program, because we do so many fun things together. So this is us hanging out in late August, downtown DC. This is with some of my second years, just having a ball with our very cool t-shirts. So the Amazing Race is, I'd say, one of our signature events. And this is really, a lot of first year students say that they really meet their friends here, right? This is where they all hang out and they have this really fun scavenger hunt in downtown DC the day after move-in day. So it is so much fun to watch. And I can now see when we're down there, right, already these friendships are forming. And that is just such a joy to watch. This is another signature event we have called Cookies with Croco, where we have this great back patio. You can see that depicted here. And this is also showing you just how close this dorm is to the center of campus. This is the library right here. And here is me hanging out with a bunch of students, I think in September, and we buy a bunch of cookies and we sit around and just talk. And I love it. This is why I did this job, is because I love being with students in this kind of environment. And it's so much fun to get to talk to them. Glow Buddies. So this is run by our kind of student executive board, right, that does a lot of programming on its own. Glow Buddies partners up second year students with first year students to kind of early in the year to help people kind of get adjusted to Maryland. This is also just a joy to watch. This event, our Mr. Fredo created this year. We are both huge fans of the Great British Baking Show. So we decided to have the Great Dorchester Baking Show. And this is our first winners. And we had basically 3 stations set up. People got to use the oven in the kitchen and complete these 3 baking challenges. If you're familiar with the show, we had a blast doing this. And so we're definitely going to make this a tradition. Alfredo with Alfredo. Mr. Fredo, would you like to elaborate on what this is?
Of course. So of course I have to use my name towards my advantage. So I do this semesterly program called Alfredo with Alfredo, where you can see students having chicken Alfredo for lunch, but we talk about 2 different things. In the fall, we talk about Brazilian culture. So I'm actually originally from Brazil. I have been in the US for over 15 years, but we talk about Brazilian culture. And then in the spring, I'll be talking about global challenges that impact Brazil. So like racism, Amazon forest issues, like with the environment. So that's going to be, it's a 1-hour lunch that we talk about issues, student ask questions, and you get free Alfredo pasta. So can't go wrong with that. So
Excellent. And I couldn't find a picture of it because I think because we were so busy flipping pancakes, but every reading day, so both semesters, it's now our tradition that every reading day we get out our griddles and we are in the kitchen and I'm flipping pancakes all morning for students. And that is just such a fun event. And I'm always amazed at how many pancakes students can eat. But it is just so much fun. And so that's another tradition that I just love being a part of. If you have any questions, we can be reached at hgc@umd.edu. And with that, I will stop sharing, and we have an impressive set of hang on a second, of honors ambassadors here. So I'll just let them introduce themselves. So Matt, how about you start us off, because you're in my top row here.
Hi, I'm Matt.
What's your first year? What's your major?
Okay, yeah. I'm a first year. My major is public policy, and I'm from Rhode Island, which is kind of far away, but I'm enjoying it here at Maryland.
Okay. Elida, how about you?
Hi, I'm Elida. I am a first year computer science major here at UMD. I am from Maryland, but I'm really enjoying it here.
Okay, Vienne.
Hi, I'm Vianne. I'm also a first year from Maryland. I'm currently majoring in psychology, but I plan on adding nutritional sciences with a concentration in dietetics as a dual degree. And I really love HGLOW.
Okay, Brennan.
Hello, I am a in-state freshman in computer science.
Okay, and Sam.
Hi, I'm Samantha. I'm an animal science major, although I plan to add biology and hopefully a sustainability minor. And I'm also a freshman from Maryland.
Okay, thank you so much. And I see we have some questions in the dorm or in the Q&A. Okay, so first one, is there AC in the dorm? Yes, absolutely. This is Maryland, and we need AC, especially early in the fall semester. So yes, there is AC. And like I said before, it is just recently renovated. It is beautiful, beautiful dorm. Okay, is for the use of R, is there support for students that have not taken stats yet? 100%. I expect that you have no experience with R, no experience with stats coming in. And so it really is, that first semester is really just about having fun with R and getting your feet wet. And so that we assume no prior knowledge on any of that. If my ambassadors here want to talk about what that was like for them, like if you didn't have any background, I know we have a couple CS people here, but what was it like for you kind of learning about R for the first time?
I can take this one. So I've experience with statistics from high school as well as a computer science background. However, learning R was a different experience because it's a different type of programming paradigm, I guess. So even if you do have computer science or don't have computer science, it's all going to be new for everyone, and there is support infrastructure for that.
I'd like to add on, I have no coding experience prior to coming in. But once you take the time to learn it, you really get an understanding of it.
Cool.
I'll also say that we had a lot of resources when learning it. We were doing a data camp course, we had a textbook, and then we also had examples. So putting it all together, it came together really pretty quickly. Once you start picking it up, you start picking it up faster and faster, and it goes from there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was
Oh, go ahead.
sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
was pretty worried about R, to be honest, because I also have no background in computer science or like data analytics. However, like the TAs and Dr. Coco were so extremely helpful and were always open for emails to help, like when there were difficulty, and like other people within the dorm were always helping each other out, like when someone couldn't figure something out, and it was really helpful.
Cool. Okay. Next question. Are we automatically considered for the Global Fellows program, or is there an application process if we are in the HGLOW program? So yeah, that's the great thing, is that if you are an HGLOW student, you are kind of guaranteed admission into that Global Fellows program. We have a direct kind of pipeline into that. And so that kind of gets you in the classes for that fall semester of your sophomore year. And will then, of course, give you contact with the program that will help you find an internship. And so, yeah, that is one of the huge advantages of being in HGLOW, is that direct line, that direct connection with that program. What proportion of students in Honors Global Communities are engineers? I feel like this is just growing every year. I feel like it's at least a quarter are engineers. I think especially with this first year cohort, when it was, the data science part kind of got out about what we do here. We have a lot more engineers. We have a ton of CS people. We have, interestingly, like a lot of aerospace engineers, but no shortage of STEM majors at all. I really thought that people would see this program and they're like, oh, it's run by a political scientist. This is just for social science. That is not the case at all. We have a ton of non-social science people and a lot of engineers, a lot of mechanicals, obviously, but all the other engineering disciplines I think are represented too. And I want to just add, this is a common question that we get. Engineers feel like the internship track isn't really for them because they're like, what could I do in the government? And the Global Fellows Program always corrects that and says, no, we want engineers, right? That is a very useful skill set that it's actually very easy for them to place engineers. So they are very welcome in that program as well. Is participating in Global Fellows and going on study abroad mutually exclusive? No. So this is the great thing. Maryland has a very strong study abroad office that is happy to help students do study abroad whenever they want. If you want, so it's just a matter of timing. So you could, for instance, do the traditional internship track option where in the fall you do the kind of class with the practitioner, and then in the spring you do your internship. Or if that for some reason doesn't work with your class schedule, you could do the internship in the summer. And that would just delay kind of when you get your honors citation, but that's not a bad thing. That's not really detrimental in any way. You could also say, okay, I'm going to do the class in the fall and then do study abroad in the spring and then do my internship later. There's lots of options, right? So you can absolutely do both. And that's what we love about this program is the flexibility. So it does not preclude the other. And yeah, so to answer your specific question, you could absolutely do study abroad your junior year. That would be fine. Do any of the classes double as gen eds? Yes, they absolutely do. So HGLO 101 and Government and Politics 201 will count towards campus gen ed requirements. So we like to kind of help students check those boxes. But yeah, and so that's not a problem at all. Okay, I'm gonna let the students take this one. How would you describe the stress and workload in HGLO?
I'd be happy to start with this one. I'd say that being a part of HGLO itself is not going to make your college experience stressful. What will is what you decide to do with your course load, what courses you take, how many credits you take, but HGLO itself is not going to make college stressful for you. I'd say that I had a pretty heavy first semester, and I found the HGLO classes appropriately challenging, but they were never part of what I felt like was overwhelming. Even occasionally it was nice to finish all my other work and say, okay, the only other thing I have to do is an HGLO assignment. I can have fun with that.
I just want to jump in here and say kind of my philosophy as the professor is that I don't want these classes to be like weed out classes or classes that really just like break your spirit in the first semester of your freshman year. There are no exams in HGLO 101. It's really just weekly reflections. And at the end, there's kind of like a little capstone project to show me your data visualization skills. But I want it to be a high engagement but low stress class, if that makes sense. So nobody's cramming for any exams. I'm never, coming up to you at lecture and being like, tell me the code to make this graph, or there's nothing like that. It's really meant to be low stress, but high engagement, right? So that you're engaging with these books, telling me what you think about these books, talking during lecture, that kind of thing. But what else do people want to share about their kind of first year?
Add on. Yeah, having no exams for the first semester was really nice because you could focus on the other exams when exam time came. And then the fact that we even create memes for our assignments sometimes. So we can have fun with our assignments and it's not stressful. And then once you get the hang of using art, it's cool to start seeing like, hey, I made that graph. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I also want to add on to that HGLO is definitely a class that I learned a lot from, and the R skills ended up being really useful, along with the global issues we discussed, made me I didn't realize while we were doing the class, and then I come out of it and I'm like, wow, I understand so much more. But it also ended up being my fun class. This is wow, for this class now I have to read this super interesting chapter of the book and I can just lie down and read it, or I have to go and make a fun graph. So it has this component where it's not no work, but it's also some kind of a de-stressor when compared to other classes that I really enjoyed last semester.
I just want to tack on to that. One of my favorite comments I've gotten on kind of end of semester evaluations is somebody said, I can go home now and talk with my parents at the dinner table about things that are happening in the world. And I couldn't do that before. And that just made my heart sing to see that a student felt empowered, right? That they're like, I know what's going on now. And that was really just powerful to read. How selective is it to be placed in HGLO? So we really try to take everybody, if you like rank us as first, we want students who are excited about joining the program. But we are limited, right? We don't have unlimited space in Dorchester. So we do aim for about 75. So, it varies year to year on how the numbers shake out. But we really want, if people are excited about HGLO, we do our best to accommodate that. Another one for the students here. What is the most impactful experience you've had in HGLO that you wouldn't have experienced elsewhere? I mean, like, what's your favorite thing about HGLO?
I can go. I think definitely like the in-class discussions, because like as said earlier, there are so many people from different majors, and like as a public policy major, I'm like around of like a lot of political nerds all the time. But I felt like going into HGLO discussion, I got to like hear so many people's different point of view, and it was like very engaging. And I felt like I learned a lot about people and like what they believe in.
Yeah, to add on to that, I've always thought about politics and like global issues and everything, but I never had an outlet to really share them and like express my ideas. And this was a great way to see how other people think, talk about the issues, and like reading about the issues. It was really engaging. And then also my favorite event had to be the Great Dorchester Bake Off. It was a lot of fun.
You're saying that because your team won some
Yeah.
NVN and
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I
they're
still
all
owe-
here.
Teams had a lot of fun. All of them did.
I still
And
owe
I
your
made great
play.
memories.
I'm gonna put your names outside. Don't worry.
Hey, Brendan, how about you?
Yes, so I was about to say that that's not necessarily a particular memory, but this class has really prepared me for data science. For example, I recently completed an application for the school's newspaper for a data reporter role, and what they said is, hey, can we give you a data set of Prince George's County data of permits, sort through that, and provide a story? And using the R skills I learned in this course, I was able to filter through thousands of different rows and dozens of columns to produce a clear interpretation that made sense, which was something that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise.
I want to add on to that because I had a similar experience. In October, I did the Technica Hackathon that UMD hosts as part of our research team. And going in, I was a little like, I don't know what I can add to this. I'm just a freshman. I'm working with juniors and seniors. But having the R skills from HGLO, I ended up making all the graphs that we presented the next day. So that was super cool to be able to apply what I'd learned in class to like something external.
Yes, that was super cool. I remember when you sent me that email and you're like, look what I made. And
I was so excited.
I know. And I was so proud of you. This first semester freshman doing this amazing stuff. Just awesome. Okay. Did we get everybody? I think we got, okay, we have 14 questions. Okay. So, can you do the internship on the side while pursuing the academic track in year 2? Absolutely. So if you just want to do, standard first year of HGLO and then do the academic track second year, you can always apply to the Global Fellows Program. We still have that connection with them. So that is always an option for you in your junior year. So we're not having you shut off any options at any point. So you're free to do all of them if you want. Okay. For the internship options for semester 4, can students do service or research or study abroad, or are all required? No, it's one of those. So we've not had anybody do a service project yet, but there are offices on campus that can help find those kind of projects. So we've just had people do study abroad or the research. And the research, just to kind of flesh that out a little bit, is where a student goes to their home department, finds a professor in that department who can kind of be a kind of like a guide, just to say like, that's a good question, or go read this article, things like that. But then all of the direct kind of guidance is given by HGLO instructors back in the program. So we don't want to put a lot of stress on outside faculty, but we want that student to work in their own field. So for instance, now I have bioengineering students doing something cool, 2 astronomers doing stuff about expansions of galaxies. And so that's just really fun to see. So it's really tailor-made for specific students. Okay, so got that one. Okay. Another question for the students. Why did you guys choose this program instead of the other honors programs?
I can take this one first. So it was interesting coming in because this program felt like it was almost tailor-made for me. I was a computer science major coming in with an interest in data science, but I've always really enjoyed the humanities and social sciences, and I really wanted to keep kind of one foot in both so I could keep exploring. So in that respect, I chose this program because it gave me exactly that. I got to develop my technical skills, but also learn a lot about like social sciences, global issues, and stuff I wouldn't have had as much space for in my schedule otherwise.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar to Elida in that for me, the social studies aspect was really interesting because I've always had interest in that, but I've always wanted to learn about like some sort of coding language and have a little bit of knowledge in the area. Now I have a lot, but and then I'm an animal science major, so you would think it has nothing to do with anything that I'm going to do in the future, but it actually comes in handy for a lot of courses and research, and just there's a lot of things that you wouldn't expect it to be useful for, and that it really is. And so it's just a fun class, yeah, fun course and everything. And then also for the community was important for me because we are a large community, or the campus is a really large community, but now you have this tiny little community within, and it's really nice.
Okay, anyone else want to jump in on that one?
I think I can add something. So for me, HGLO was my 4th choice. But I think that this program has been really, really good to me in terms of both the community and the coursework, which both relate to me. And I guess on that point, sometimes you choose HGLO, but other times HGLO chooses you.
I'm glad we chose you. I'm glad we got you, Brennan. Okay. 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 So all of these are first year students. And so none of them have done the internship program because that's a second year student thing. I think I am just in talking with some of the second year students, a lot of them really want to be on the ground floor of solving problems. And so they see this as an opportunity to meet with people who are actually working in the fields, that are dealing with the climate crisis, that are talking about, worldwide hunger, things like that. And so that's why they want to do this. We have at least 2 students who I think are doing work with international refugee groups. And so they're really just passionate about these issues. I think that's what the internship, that's what really appealed to them about that track. But we've had a ton of fun on the academic track too. That was really just so fun to see students just like realize that they can create their own independent research and do really cool stuff. How selective is HGLO? This is a really kind of a non satisfactory answer or satisfying answer, but I don't really know because it's, like I said, we like to prioritize students who want to be with us. So if you put us as your first choice, we really try to accommodate people who do that, because we want people who are excited about this program and who want to get in. But I think it really varies year to year. I mean, I'm just trying to think like in a very nerdy way about how I would even answer this question statistically, because a lot of people are applying to, who are admitted to honors. They can pick between, the 8 different LLPs. And so it's kind of a complex sorting process. I would say we're, more competitive than maybe a bigger program would be just because of the size. And so that we just cannot fit as many students in Dorchester as some of the other bigger dorms would be able to. But like I said, we want people who are excited. So if you're excited about this program, let us know. And that's what we're looking for. Okay. So I think, okay, what laptop and device? We are completely agnostic as to what type of device. My bit of advice, though, would not to bring a Chromebook. I understand the appeal of a Chromebook. but there is some disconnect between Chromebooks and RStudio, which are the two programs that we use. There are ways around this. A lot of students who have Chromebooks just use campus computers, or they can use, UMD has this great virtual workspace where you can access all the software that the university has access to virtually through whatever computer you have. That's just, as someone who has taught this class and other R-based classes before, Chromebooks present issues. But again, I completely understand the affordability aspect of those. That's just something to keep in mind when dealing with R. And like I said, there are ways around that problem. Okay. So I'm just trying to think of oh, here we go. Okay, how do the classes you take in this program supplement those that you already take for a government politics major? So I can answer this one. You get the 201, the GVPT 201 class out of the way, which is a required course for that major. But apart from that, there's still a whole host of government and politics classes that you can take, right? So you could go take a ton of classes in American politics, a ton of classes in comparative or international relations. The GVPT 201 is the only one that directly overlaps with the GVPT curriculum. And that's just a function of me being the director, right? I knew that I've helped design this class. And so I knew that it would fit in this program. So I pulled it in as part of the curriculum. But there are tons of stuff that tons of classes that you could do if you wanted to be a GVPT major. You could do that. Is there a lot of paper writing involved in the class? Not like a bunch. You're not going to write like 320-page papers or anything like that. For that first class, it's a weekly reflection, which I tell students to aim for like between half a page and a full page single spaced. A lot of students write more. I've had to now start setting limits because people would just write and write and write. And so you write that reflection, and then you do either a meme and I just use the memes because it's fun, and it's another way for students to show me that they've done the reading. Or I've now introduced that you can write a limerick or a haiku, right? So this is not like your traditional write a paper for the class. These are really just your personal reflections about what you thought about the reading. Okay, what is the average class size? So there's two components. For HGLO 101, it would be the big lecture and everybody's in the same lecture, which I love the vibe of that room because it's just so fun. Having all the first years together is really cool. But then you break off into discussion sections every Friday, which are capped at 25. And then Natalie, can you say how big the HGLO 100 classes are?
Yep, so the HGLO 100 classes meet once a week, and each of those sections are kind of capped at around 25 as well. It's definitely a small discussion seminar type feel.
Okay, cool. Okay. There was just a couple like nuts and bolts questions that I wanted to answer here. Are HGLO students the only ones who live in Dorchester? The vast majority, yes. There are a few students who are not in HGLO who live in Dorchester for various reasons, but the vast majority of them are HGLO, which is just so fun. Do you all live together for the 2 years? All first years have a spot in Dorchester if they'd like it. We do have some commuter students, but then the second years can opt to try to get back into Dorchester, but there is limited space, like I said before, so we can't fit 2 entire cohorts in Dorchester, but first year students definitely live there. Okay. Another one. Let's do another one for the students here. You've kind of already talked about your favorite stuff about HGLO, but feel free to expand on that. But and what's something that you might want to change?
I can try to start here. My favorite thing about HGLO would definitely be that, especially for the first year, we all get to live in Dorchester together, which means that you can literally step out of your room, go right around the corner, knock on your friend's door and be like, oh my gosh, I need help with this R homework. And then you can all collaborate on that sort of thing. It is encouraged. It is not cheating. Collaboration is encouraged.
Absolutely encouraged.
And everyone can kind of work together on the R coding assignments, especially at the beginning of the year when some people are a lot newer to R and like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And those have been some of the best moments for me, just kind of working together as a group on those projects. something I'd change. I wish Dorchester were bigger so it could fit more of us. That would be lovely.
That's what I was gonna say too. I would make it bigger so that second years could live here guaranteed too. But yeah, for something I would like, I was also gonna build off on that and just say in general, the community is so nice because you get enough of a different mix of majors that you'll find someone who does your thing and then meet lots of people who do different things as well and kind of learn from each other and make some really great friends.
Yeah, I agree. The community is the best part, which is why we all want to be here second year. That's the reason we want it larger, because otherwise the size is perfect.
Yeah,
Oh.
something like besides the community, like the community is incredible, and that's like one of my favorite things. But I just like my memory just jogged on this. Like the memes last semester, making them every week had to be the highlight of my week every single week. I was literally so proud of some of them. And like a lot of times it was just like dumb political jokes. And like sometimes I'd relate like the stuff from the books to like current politics or like to a movie reference. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun.
There was also a trend that was developing where they actually made their own memes where they would take pictures of each other and make it into a meme. So like these H-Glow specific memes, that was really fun to see. You guys are so creative. There was kind of another nuts and bolts question here. Where was that? Oh, can you delay your study abroad to junior year and still use to complete the honors track and not have an honors class second semester? Yes. So we have a lot of students, we have ones who have like really busy schedules, like aerospace engineering has like a really strict schedule. And so some of them just can't do it that spring semester of their sophomore year. Totally fine to do it a different time. We had another student do it early. We had somebody do study abroad over the summer. And so she was in my my 208 class in the fall, and now she's not doing anything HGLO related in the spring because she already finished the study abroad. So we're very flexible with that. Does this program relate with the social data science major? I'm friends with the head of the social data science major. So I can confidently say, yes, it does. What they use R, and everybody over there is fluent in R, but they also use Python. So you as an HGLO student could walk into a social data science major and be like, I know how to do this. And it would be pretty easy for you to pick up Python. But they are definitely R people over there as well. Because it is open source, it's used in a growing number of UMD classes across majors. So the fact that it's free really makes it attractive to a lot of data scientists. Where do second years live? Some of them can live in Dorchester if there is space. Others live in different dorms around campus. Some become RAs. Some choose to live off campus. It really depends on the student. So that's how that works. I'll let the students take this. How does finding a roommate work in HGLO? How did you guys kind of find your roommates once you knew you were in HGLO? What did you do? Or did you just let the university like randomly pick?
Well, I can start because I was getting nervous about this because I was like, where do I start? And then my roommate found me through the roommate finder, and we ended up having a lot of mutual friends. We ended up having so much in common. So, guys, the roommate finder works sometimes. Don't discount it.
I'd like to add on Vianne, who's also the other my game is speaking now, honors ambassador here, is my roommate, and we found each other through the roommate finder, and it worked out really well. So we get along great. It was a great process.
Unfortunately did not use the roommate finder. Sometimes I wish I did. However, I love my roommate. We get along so well, and he's also a public policy major. So like we get to talk about like what we're learning in classes together, and like there's like a few like basic requirements that we have to take, and like he took some of them last semester, and I'm taking them this semester. So like we're always bouncing ideas off of each other. So like even if you don't use the roommate finder, like the powers that be, like they'll put you with someone that you're gonna want to be with.
And I won't take too much time on this because I know this is about HGLO, but just really quick for people who don't know what the roommate finder is, basically you fill out a very quick questionnaire about when you like to go to sleep, where you like to study, what your boundaries are for your room, and then the algorithm will kind of pick out other people anonymously who it says you have a high match with these people, so you answer a lot of the questions the same, and it'll recommend them to you, and then you can start chatting with each other.
Okay, I'll just take this question really quickly. If you're not, I'll give my perspective, but then I want to turn it over to the students really quickly. I know we're running out of time. Is it 7:55 or 7:50 that we have to stop? I should ask.
You have until 8. So you're
Oh,
good.
until 8. Okay, I thought it was 5 till. Okay, cool. Great. So, if you're not really interested in social sciences but want to be a computer science major, would you still recommend this honors program? Again, I'm going to let the students do this, but I just want to say, as the professor, it is so cool reading the reflections of non-social science students. Of course, I love the social science students. I am one of them as well. But I love reading stuff from my astronomers, from my engineers, because this is not normally in their wheelhouse. It's not something that they normally talk about. But they are still so engaged. And even if they've never really thought about like, what are the consequences of having a binding, presidential primary, they've now been introduced to it. And it's really cool to see them kind of think about stuff for the first time. And so I would say that's a really fun part of it for me to see non-social scientists. And we have a ton of STEM and specifically CS people in our program. But we have some CS people here, so I'll let you guys talk about what you think.
I can go. So when I was applying to the honors colleges, I thought that ACES was the big computer science one. However, that's mainly cybersecurity. So I would say that if you're interested in data science, then you should pick HGlobe because it's very data heavy and driven. But if you think cybersecurity is your better option, then that might be a better pick for you.
I also want to add that even if you're not interested in social sciences, you'll be surprised by how much it might be relevant. One thing we're looking at this semester in GVBT 201 is the nature of information online and how it spreads, because that's also important for social sciences. And if you're interested at all in the algorithms of social media apps and looking into that technology in those big companies, that's something you'll want to learn more about.
For sure. Okay, question is, would you recommend doing HGLO if you're already majoring in social data science? Absolutely, because you will just get even more experience in different types of coding. I think some of the social data science classes, like the introductory ones, are Python based. And so you could learn Python and R in your first year, and those two really complement each other, just from a learning curve standpoint. How the social data science major works, it is housed within the behavioral and social science college. And so people who are social data science majors, that is their declared major, but they take classes in one of the big 4 social sciences. So they might be a social data science major who specializes in government and politics, or who specializes in econ, or who specializes in geography, right? So they are already kind of, as being a part of that major, you're already getting a lot of social science and HGLO 100. And if you do the academic track, you will get even more exposure to social science issues. So I think the two pair really well. I know a lot of people aren't aware of the social data science major when they apply. And so I see HGLO as a really nice pathway that if you come in and you didn't know about it, you can, start to take those courses in your sophomore year and get on that track if you want to. So yeah, I think they definitely go hand in hand. I don't think it'd be repetitive, because I just run HGLO 101 very differently than most data science classes. It's really about the substantive issues with the data visualization as an important, but as a secondary part. Whereas over in social data science, it'll be much more like, here's how you do this programming. And so I think that they would really pair very well together. And if you wanted to do the social data science major and say, I'm going to concentrate in GVPT, you will have already knocked out one of the major requirements by taking GVPT 201. So I think those two would pair really well together. Okay, we have a few minutes left if there's any other questions people had. Or are internships available for CS? Yes, that is the Global Fellows folks always say, send all those engineers and all those STEM people to us. They have found really cool internships for people. I know in the past they placed people at NASA, at the Goddard Center, at any number of NGOs downtown are going to need CS people. NSA, CIA, all those places need people who know how to do this skill set. And so I think absolutely it really is kind of this misconception that this, the Global Fellows has all this, pictures of like the Washington Monument, all this government stuff, but it really is not limited to government at all. They really try to place a wide variety of people internships that will help them. And just to underscore, because there were a couple questions that kind of got at this, I want to make it absolutely clear that we are willing to be very flexible, as is Global Fellows, as to the timing of when you do that internship. So if you're worried about like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can fit this in my second year, or I really wanted to do study abroad and then do an internship in my junior year or in the summer, totally fine. We are very flexible in how this plays out. So if you want to do it all, we can make that happen.
Dr. Krogo, there's a message in the chat about asking what is the best way to visit HGLO, and Sam mentioned the admitted student open houses. That really will be the best way to get to know HGLO. So in addition to the info sessions that we'll be offering on those admitted student open houses, we are going to be offering brief tours of Dorchester afterwards, and it's very easy because the info sessions take place in the Stamp Student Union, and Dorchester is literally right across the street from Stamp. So that will be a great way to tour our program space, and we might even have some of our honors student ambassadors willing to share their rooms with us.
Yes, no, please do sign up for those admitted open houses. That really is a great way, not only to see the campus, but to get to know HGLO a little more. Just trying to see if anything else is in the chat. I think we got everything there. Yeah, no, we would love to have you guys apply to HGLO, and just to have you become a TERP with us as well. So yep. Oh, I see one more new message has, oh, this is just from kind of the information. Cool. Yeah. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at hgc@umd.edu. As they're saying in the chat, remember that preferencing deadline is February 19th. So please make those deadlines. That makes it easier on everybody. And yeah, we're looking forward to welcoming in a new batch of HGLO students in the fall.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, ambassadors. Thank you, HGLO team. Really appreciate it. I love hearing about this, so it was exciting to listen. So thank you again for everyone that's joining us tonight. So again, this session was recorded, and you can expect to get the recording link. I plan on sending it out sometime tomorrow with a reminder of the other events, info sessions that are happening the rest of this week. And you can also visit the HGLO page on our main website, which I posted in the chat, if you want to see the video and learn more about HGLO. So again, please do not forget to, can't stress it enough, please don't forget to complete the program preferencing form by February 19th. And just remember that it does not commit you to the university. It just reserves your spot within honors should you decide to come to UMD. So it's very important. And again, if you have any questions, contact HGLO, or if you have any general honors court questions, you can contact us at honorsadmissions@umd.edu, which Jenny put in the chat. So that's about it. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We hope you